Hey everyone! Welcome to the stream. You are here early, officially, very early, but that's okay because I am too. And we'll start the actual class at the top of the hour. If you've been here before, you know how this works. But in the meantime, we can just kind of hang out, ask any questions you have if there's anything you want to know before the stream starts. If not, just relax for like 25 minutes until we get on with the actual lesson. We have an advanced level lesson today, so if you are not advanced, or at least if you're not intermediate, you don't need to master this topic we're going to be doing today, but you could still hang out, ask questions. Maybe you'll learn something regardless. Let's see who's here already. Cosma, hey. I see a few other names I know. Gummy Girl, Nyaru, Keith. It must be Sunday. How bittersweet. Yes, if you see my face, it means it's Sunday. Welcome. Natalie says, I'm going to be singing the Super Bowl, and at the Super Bowl, I'm going to be singing the national anthem. If you're talking about the Korean anthem, then the answer is yes. Unfortunately, that won't be broadcast on most networks. They told me none at this point, but we're working on it. Welcome. See a few other people I recognize. Polygon says it's 5 a.m. Why'd you wake up at 5 o'clock? You can't get me up at 5 o'clock unless it's like I have to catch a plane or something. I'm not waking up at 5 o'clock for nothing. I did get my ticket to Korea and my Airbnb and everything's booked. So I'll be going to Korea again. Probably that day. Probably that morning will be the only time I actually wake up early. Because usually when I go to Korea, I have to wake up here like 4 o'clock. There's some stuff I always have to pack that I use that I can't pack it until, that morning. Like I can't pack my electric, razor to shave because I got to use it in the morning when I wake up. So a few other things like that I have to pack the very last second and put everything into my car to drive to the airport. But that day I'll probably wake up at like 4. Yeah, usually like 4-ish, just to have plenty of time to get ready and, not have to rush at all. But besides that, yeah, I'm not up at 4. I'm sleeping until at least after 6, even if I have to wake up early. 5 is really early. Welcome. Ahana says, I learned a little Korean from you. Nice. Polygon says, actually, I woke up at 4. All right. Choyoyo says, GBM say sayo. Cat Crocs asks, what are my dates? My dates are Medjool. They're usually on sale at Aldi. They're pretty good. I recommend them. You do have to remove the pit, and occasionally one of them will be like rotten on the inside just randomly. It's not a big deal. The bag's fine. Just sometimes that happens. What about you? It's really very helpful. Nice. Just to restate. Oh, actually not restate. I haven't said this yet. So many people are watching the Super Bowl today. I personally won't, just because I've never seen it before, but I will be watching the commercials. I don't know. It's just kind of fun to watch like whatever new commercials come out around the Super Bowl. I feel like the best commercials are near the Super Bowl. Usually, sometimes there's some like dumb ones, but usually the best ones are during the Super Bowl because they cost the most money to air. So they put their best, their best commercials go out during the Super Bowl. Sometimes you'll get some fun ones. I like that. I'll probably try to watch the halftime show because that's always cool. But I don't know anything about the game. I've never seen a game in my entire life. That's not a brag. It's just to dunk on myself and say I don't know anything about it. But this lesson will be done. At least the lesson portion will be done before the Super Bowl even starts. So if there's anyone out there who wants to watch it, you're not going to be, it's not going to interrupt your party, I guess, or whatever. If you're in the US, I know most of you are not actually in the US. I have a lot of viewers. Most of my viewers are not in the US, funnily. But yeah, if you are, this will be over before you have to go to your party. So no worries. And then tomorrow we'll also have a new Stray Kids video. We've got the first one's already out. I don't know how many of you saw it. Hopefully you liked it. I enjoyed it. That was probably the longest episode in the entire series. The other ones should, I don't know, actually Felix's might be longer than that, but typically they're not going to be that long. I'm looking at about 20 minutes or so for each one. But the first one, it had like an introduction to the whole, the Stray Kids group and what I'm doing. And then on top of that, Pangchan is, he has the stuff I have to analyze about his Korean, but also about his Australianness. So it became really big. But tomorrow will be Lino, of course, Lino. And that should be more reasonable. I think it's like 25 or 28 minutes. I can't remember. But anyway, it's shorter. Let's see. You mentioned a fan meetup a few weeks ago. Yes, there will be a fan meetup sometime in my during my trip. I'm thinking, let's just say tentatively early June, but I haven't picked it. It'll be whatever I can figure out because it'll depend on my schedule when I get there. I'll let you know when it gets closer. I'll post a video probably after I go to Korea. I'll film a quick video with an announcement like I usually do. I just film something on my phone, edit it really quick on my laptop. That way people can know about it. But yeah, if you happen to be in Korea in June, most likely, or the end of May, I don't know which it'll be. If you happen to be in Korea during that time, let's meet up. Get my autograph. There's really nothing I could do though. It's usually like just, I might film a video for my channel. I've done a few times. I might not. I haven't done it every time. And then that's pretty much it. Just like, hey, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming. Take photos, get my autograph if you want. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But it would be still cool to see some of you there. I know every time we get about 30, 40 people of you, 30, 40 of you that show up to each one. Let's see. I'll make tteokguk. Tteokguk sounds great. That's gonna be great for next week. Next week's gonna be the New Year, right? The Lunar New Year. That'll be on, I believe it's like Wednesday? I have to check. It's Tuesday or Wednesday. It's sometime early next week. Not this week, but the next one. Billy. Oh, wait, someone said something else. I'm still a beginner, but watching anyway because these live streams are fun. Nice. Yeah, you're going to be lost in this lesson. I'm just going to be upfront with you. It's an advanced level form you will not ever need to use until you are at an advanced level. I would recommend if you're at least an intermediate level that you be aware of this form. You'll see it, but you don't need to use it yourself. And I think I've used it like once ever, and it was on like an essay. I've never used this before in speech. It is used. You will see it, but I would say you don't really need to worry about it unless you're advanced. But yeah, if you're intermediate, definitely write it down, take notes. If you're beginner, I don't know, you can still take notes, but you just don't have to worry about it. Billy, I guess Charlie Puth will have to cover for you. Yeah, I think that's what the plan originally was. It was Charlie Puth was singing the halftime show, but his voice was going out. No. It was his face was going. His face was going out. Yeah, that's right. He had like, huge breakout of acne and everything. He just couldn't go on stage. So he's like, we need to find someone who looks like me. And the idea was I was going to go out as Charlie Puth, but my voice was going to be dubbed. So I rehearsed the whole routine. I had a advanced choreography. I had practiced for 4 months and it was going to be wonderful. But then at the last minute, they canceled everything. So I mean, it's really a blessing in disguise because if it weren't for everything being canceled, I wouldn't be doing this advanced lesson with you all. So it's kind of good, right? But anyway, that's what happened. That's the truth. See, I recently made byokguk. Nice. Your first time? I've never made that before. It's good. I didn't know if it's easy or difficult. I've never looked up the recipe. 이탈리아에 있어서 못 올 것 같아요. That's too bad. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. I do the meetup in Korea, which is already difficult for most of my subscribers because most of the people who watch my channel aren't in Korea at the moment. And then it's always during, a specific month. So there's only one I do, one a year at maximum. So I understand most people who want to come can't come. But for those of you who can, it should be fun. I have fun with it anyway. It's fun seeing who shows up. Got a couple people who showed up like multiple times, which is also kind of cool. Cosma, Billy, I got a quick question. Is 겠다 하겠어서. No. 죽겠어서 배고파 죽겠어서. No. It sounds awkward. There are cases where the usage of Seol form with anything other than the regular conjugated verb are acceptable. It's still technically always wrong if it's not the plain verb, like 하다 becoming 해서, the N, the only choice for that, no other forms. There are some cases where it's acceptable to do it wrong. That would be past tense with verbs that don't have stems already ending with double shio. So it rules out the 겠다 form because it's ket. It rules out 있다 in the past tense. And then any other double past tense. Anyway, there's a few times when it's okay. That one sounds weird. You would just say 너무 배고파서. And you can think of like 배고파 죽겠다 as like as in an idiomatic expression. So connecting like grammatically correct forms with idiomatic expressions can sometimes sound awkward. I was trying to think of an example really quick in English, but I couldn't come up with anything. But yeah, you can just think of it as more of an idiomatic thing and not as like a separate actual grammar, like a verb. Don't look at it as a verb. Look at it as just itself. It's an idiomatic usage. Is the bun part related? Yes, it's the exact same particle. Although, if you were in the last lesson, I explained how it's not used the same way. The bun만 아니라 is not used the same way as bun because bun has other exceptions. Like it'll be different when it's used with like ida, with ir, like that. But yeah, they do come from the same form. I'm going the first 3 weeks of June. Oh, well then, yeah, you might be able to because I'm going to most likely do the meetup the very end of May or the beginning of June, just because of the weather. At the latest, it'll be mid-June, I think. I probably won't do it later than that. It's just too hot. Autograph, and I might have some book money for Jeremy. For a book you didn't let him get last time? What was that? Was there a book he didn't get last time? You know, I'm still giving Jeremy the books that he got last time. Like, we bought him all those books, but then we give them to him one at a time. Otherwise, you know, it's only going to last like a week. He'll just, because he reads so fast in Korean. We actually started watching together last week. I know this is not Korean, but have any of you, if you've heard of the Japanese drama Liar Game, we actually started watching that. I've seen it before. Like I saw it before I even, no, I was doing Korean, but before I was doing YouTube or anything, I'd watched that in Japanese. But I wanted to watch it with Jeremy, but I figured it's not fun to watch it with English subtitles. Let's watch it with Korean subtitles, at least so that, you know, he gets some extra Korean practice. And he's fine. He can read the subtitles and understand everything, no problem. I'm like, okay, great. But I'm wondering what book it was that he didn't get last time. Billy, born to be a comedian, unfortunately not funny enough to be a comedian. Yes. Forced to be the world's funniest Korean teacher. Well, that's kind of a low bar. I don't think there are too many of us competing to be the funniest Korean teacher. Guess also totally makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. It just sounds weird. Same with a lot of past tense stuff. It's been a while since I've been here, but tuning in again feels so nostalgic and happy and making me excited to study again. I cannot read. I was here for your first ever stream. Really? Like 2018? Wait, my first class? Not my first stream, right? I think my first stream was like when I hit 100,000 subscribers or something like that. But I know my first class was sometime it was like September in 2018, I think. Welcome. For Jeremy, you limited Minecraft or something? Oh yeah, that's right. He was only allowed to pick one Minecraft book. If I didn't, I swear, it would have been $100 of Minecraft books. No joke. He would have done $100 of Minecraft books and then begged for more. They're like, Daddy, it's only like $5 more than the amount. Oh, so I'm like, no. The reason isn't because I dislike Minecraft or anything. That's fine. The reason is that I want him to pick books that also will get him practice for reading Korean, not simply books that he's just going to be looking at the pictures, you know, reading like one word per page, that sort of like comic book. So he did get a few comic books this time. Actually, he had a lot of comic books as usual, but we also made sure to put in a lot of actual books where, you know, he actually is reading paragraphs. Pokemon. What's my favorite 최 Pokemon. My favorite Pokemon? It's Pikachu. It's number 1. Do you ever speak in Korean with Jeremy? Yeah, all the time. I speak in Korean with Jeremy even when I'm in the US sometimes. But I'd say most of the time when I'm in the US, 90% of the time, not 99%, but like 90% of the time, I just speak to him in English. If we're out somewhere and I want to tell Jeremy something, I might speak with him in Korean just for fun. And then when we're in Korea, I think I might do half and half. So he'll get a lot of Korean from me when we're in Korea. The reason is I don't want to have a relationship with Jeremy where he feels awkward when I speak Korean and he'll feel awkward speaking Korean with me. I don't want that because then it feels like using Korean is like a chore for him. It's like, oh, you want me to do that? Okay, I guess I'll use Korean for you. Like, I don't want to. I want him to feel like using Korean with me is just the same as he would use Korean with his mom. So I try to use Korean with him as well. Otherwise, it would be awkward if I only used it in, when filming videos with him. That's why when you see videos we film together in Korea, although we're not normally always only speaking in Korean, he's able to naturally, without being uncomfortable, speak Korean to me in those videos. So it's not like he's slipping up and using English. And I'm like, wait, Jeremy, say it again. The video's in Korean, remember? It's just, I just tell him, all right, when we get there, I'm going to be speaking Korean. He's like, okay, 네, like that. And then we just switch to Korean when we're traveling, we film, get back. Then we might switch back to English and use a little more Korean the next time. Billy, do you have any tips for TOPIK test besides listening practice? Past year's tests. Take past year's tests. That's the best advice for practicing for the TOPIK. They also have books. You can get books that will have the past year's tests with the answers in them, which can be useful, as well as they might have like little explanations of stuff. You can get that as well if you'd like to spend some extra money, but just practicing with past tests should be fine. I've been watching you for a while and I found it really amazing. I learned new Korean words recently and so far I know a few words in Korean, okay? Yeah, you would use 최 first, but you can just say 가장 좋아하는. So 최 would be like, in English, like saying your bias, like your favorite, like who do you stan? It's a little bit of a shorter version of that. And you'll hear it I do hear it a lot for like people asking their favorite character in a game or their favorite character in a show. They'll use 최애 instead. But if you're just asking someone, what's your favorite something, just use 가장 좋아하는 or 제일 좋아하는 is fine. 2018, nice. Yeah, I've been doing these live streams now for 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, over 6 years, right? Yeah, this will be the 7th year that I've been doing live streams. Polygon, this is going to be my 4th language. Nice. To get started, would you recommend us to focus more on grammar or more on vocabulary? As a beginner, when you're getting started, don't even bother with vocabulary because you can't use vocabulary until you have grammar to do something with it. It's like you're building a house and you're wondering, do I need to focus on my supports or should I should I start shopping the carpet and, the shingles and what kind of mirror I want in my bathroom? Like both are important. And when you get your nice house, when you get advanced in Korean and, when you can actually start using the language, vocabulary is going to be hugely important to you because it's the difference between saying, I like cheese, give me cheese, and saying, hey, what do you think between pineapple and, pepperoni on pizza? What's your preference? Like being able to construct sentences will come down to not just grammar, but it'll come down to a lot of vocabulary. But in the beginning, you don't need to worry about vocab. You'll learn plenty of vocab just by getting up the basics. And once you start having like basic foundation, once you can start to put sentences together, really basic sentences, but that they are sentences and you can start to say a lot of various basic things, then at that point, I would say you want to start adding in lots of vocabulary to your study. And that usually will be somewhere like the high beginner level, the low intermediate level. Like when you start to go into actual conversations, then what's going to be holding you back will not be grammar anymore, although you still will need more grammar to get past the intermediate level, but it'll be vocabulary. Pineapple on pizza. Yeah, I like it, but I'll go for it if you put like regular Hawaiian pizza is okay sometimes. I never like order it, but if you want to have pineapple on pizza and have it be tolerable for people who normally don't like it, what you do is you do pineapple, pepperoni, so not Canadian bacon pineapple, you do pineapple, pepperoni, and jalapeno. Pineapple, pepperoni, jalapeno pizza. Trust me, even if you don't like Hawaiian pizza, this is a good combination. The pepperoni makes it salty, like extra salty, and the jalapeno makes it spicy enough that it counteracts the sweetness of the pineapple and makes it like it's normally you don't like pineapple pizza because it's, you know, just too sweet, right? You want savory and cheesy, not sweet. But the jalapeno counteracts that, and it kind of makes the pineapple act like a vegetable almost on pizza again. It's really good. So if you don't like Hawaiian, try jalapeno with pepperoni and pineapple. That's pretty good. I'll eat that. Pineapple juice ruins the crust. That is true sometimes. It gets kind of wet. I know what you're talking about. You never want like the pizza dough. It should never, the crust should never be like dough. You want the crust to be like breadstick kind of, right? Okay, let's see. Is it good for the beginning to learn vocab, grammar, all mixed up without any structure? No. You want to follow a curriculum, like Keith says. It doesn't have to be mine. I will never tell you you need me to learn Korean. You want a curriculum, though. You need, it's just a guide that tells you, like any sort of form that tells you, study this, then study this, then study this, then study this. And it doesn't really matter what order it is, to be honest. There are some wrong things, like, you know, you don't want to put a really advanced, difficult grammar form in the beginning. But in general, anyone making any of these lists who's learned Korean before will probably do a decent job and tell you, hey, you're a beginner, you probably should learn these forms and do them in order. That way you don't get big gaps in your learning. That's what I would do. And then whatever form you're learning, you can go and use other resources to add on for like extra explanation. Say you don't get it, like, oh, it's still a little confusing. But then when you go to the next form, it's still going to come from that same list. Don't like go off and transfer to another curriculum mid-curriculum, because then you're going to get gaps in your learning. Now you can transfer to another, but if you transfer to another, start at the beginning again and go through it as much as you can until you get past it. And these curriculum, any curriculum you use, they're only going to go up to like intermediate level maximum. So you don't really have to worry about like how long you have to follow it. Like, oh, how long do I need to follow it? Just follow it till the end. None of them are going to go past there, because past the beginner level, there's just too much. There are too many little things you'd have to learn that you don't really need a curriculum for it anymore. You just start to need actual life experience and listening practice to know which of the ones you should learn. Add some hot honey. That sounds good. Korea has gorgonzola pizza. I know it's not a Korean invention, but in Korea, it's popular. Gorgonzola pizza is just the like gorgonzola, the cheese, kind of like blue cheese type of cheese. And then they put, it's just like a lot of cheese, and then you dip it in honey. That's like a common type of pizza that you can get in Korea. I never saw it outside of Korea, but in Korea, it's pretty common. It's good. Get a little packet of honey, dip the pizza in there with the cheese. My dad used to put applesauce on pizza to tone down the spice. What the hell? What the? Okay. All right. Yep. Okay. That sounds horrible. Let's see. What else? I need to read a new comment to wash that out of my brain. I just did like 5 different curriculi. Yeah, I think curriculi. Emart has bulgogi pizza. Yeah. Bulgogi pizza is pretty good too. It's not my favorite. My favorite is just plain cheese in the US, or pepperoni. That's my favorite kind of pizza. If I want to get fancy, I do like pepperoni and jalapeno by itself is also pretty good. But, oh, no, I take it back. My favorite pizza is actually plain cheese. I'm not joking here. plain cheese with anchovies. Completely serious about that. That's my favorite kind of pizza. I know that there are going to be like 100 of you out there that think that's disgusting, but there's one of you who's going to be like, yeah, Billy, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's my favorite kind of pizza. Completely honest, but I don't eat it very often because, you know, my wife and kid wouldn't eat it with me. So what I usually do is I'll buy one of those little cans of anchovies, and if there's like leftovers from pizza, then I'll heat that up separately and I eat it by myself in the kitchen so that no one else has to smell it or even look at it. Put a bunch of anchovies on there. Oh, maybe some Tabasco sauce. Oh, some, you know, red pepper flakes, a little bit of Parmesan cheese. That's what I do. Top of the hour. Let's get started with our lesson. We've got an advanced lesson today. Now, if you are at least an intermediate level, I would say go ahead and learn this and master it and be ready for it. Besides that, though, I would just say take notes, be aware that it exists. This form is not used very commonly. In fact, I don't even know why the heck I'm teaching it to you. I know why. It's because I've taught you literally everything. We've been doing these live streams now for over 6 years, and I've taught literally everything. There's nothing left to teach. I don't know what to teach you. So we're going to be starting to do a form today that's a little bit less common, but is advanced level. Let me just clean the board first. The form we're going to be learning today is 따름이다. 따름이다. What is this form? Well, 따름 means only, or just, and nothing else, or and nothing more. Basically, only. But wait, there's another word that also means only or just and nothing else and nothing more. What could that be? I've actually taught it before. The particle bun, the word bun, bun, also means this exact same thing. It's the exact same thing. The difference, though, is that this has different letters in it. No, the difference is that this is a little bit more emphatic than bun, but it has the same meaning as bun. Basically, again, only, but not just only, it's just like that's it. There's nothing else, only that. So it has the emphasis of saying not only, but only and nothing else. But you can just think of it as meaning only. So, how do you use this form? It's pretty easy. You take a verb stem, so that's just any verb with 다 removed. So 하다 becomes 하, 먹다 becomes 먹. You get the idea. No exceptions. Well, actually, that's not true. There are exceptions. Verbs that have this letter at them, verbs that end with this letter, we'll just keep this letter at the end. But you take a verb stem and then you attach if it ends with a consonant. So 먹다 is 먹을, or attach a lir, the L letter, if it ends with a vowel. So 가다 would be 갈. Then you attach 따름이다 and conjugate 이다 after the. This is just to be 이다. So you can conjugate as 입니다, 이에요, 이었습니다, 이었어요. Anything like that. So, I said this has the same meaning as bun, right? Well, you can technically replace any sentence that has 따름 with 분 and ida. So if you see a sentence, like for example, 하다, 할, 따름, 이에요, you can replace it with 할, 분, 이에요. Every single sentence you can do that. No exceptions. Now, you can't necessarily go the other way because there's a slightly different nuance to this form, but you can at least always 100% go back to 분, and it'll be grammatically and technically correct. So, what is this form then? Why would you use this form instead of 분? Because 분 is pretty common, I'd say. Pretty common to say like only or just. Well, this form is useless. No, this form is formal, so it's less common than 분. So you're not going to use it that much, but you might see other people use it. Hold on, did my tablet just shut off? No, it was just getting tired. Okay, let me just check here. Corn on pizza is a Korea. Yeah, corn on pizza is popular in Korea. That's good. I like corn on pizza. I didn't like it when I first tried it, but you kind of get used to it so that you think it's good. It. Okay. Get some Stockholm syndrome over the corn in there, but it's pretty good. 맛있어요. Anchovy pizza, Hawaiian pizza보다 훨씬 나은 것 같아요. Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I would agree. And I'm someone who can enjoy Hawaiian pizza. I also think anchovies better. Is that from 따르다? No, it's not. 따름이라는 단어를 보면 나름 생각이 나네요. Yeah, it's different. That one's different. Okay. Billy's starting to look psychotic. I guess this is a result of teaching Korean on YouTube for 13 years. Sweet potato on pizza is also good. Yeah, sweet potato on pizza is okay. I like... What kind of pizza in Korea do I like getting? I think I just get whatever my wife gets because I personally just like, plain cheese or plain pepperoni. But I kind of like the pizzas that aren't sweet, I guess. I prefer pizzas that aren't sweet. So I'm not a big fan of like the bulgogi pizza or like the koguma pizza, although I eat them. I like the regular potatoes, or I like the ones that have sausage, or like some that I've seen that have like shrimp or stuff like that I like. But I'll eat any pizza. I'm not that picky. I have my preferences that I like, and then everything else is just like, okay, if someone else is paying, I'll eat whatever. Okay. So because it's formal sounding, it's less common. You might hear it in a speech. You probably will hear it in a speech. But you're not going to be using this with your friends, and you're not going to be using this every day. Now, there's one more thing you also need to know about this form. The verb stem. Now, this can be either the regular verb stem, or it can be the past tense verb stem. A lot of times it is the past tense verb stem, which would be, instead of 하다, normally you get 했, right? Like 했어요. Whenever you reach this double letter when you're conjugating the past tense, that's the stem. Everything after that gets cut off, no matter what you're saying, like 했어요 or 했습니다. This is the stem, and then you'll always attach to the stem. So you can use this with the regular stem, like 할, or past tense, 했을. And you could also use 이다 in the past tense if you want to say it was only. Instead of saying it is only, you can say it was only something. Okay. Let's see. What else do we need to go over? Oh, yes. Yes. This form can be used with both action verbs and descriptive verbs. But the nuance is slightly different. And this is something unique to this form that ㅁㅁㅁ does not have. Now, literally, it always means the same thing. Only or just and nothing else, or only and just and nothing more. It's always that same meaning literally. But the nuance, when you use it with an action verb, is just that. Just only or just. You can think of it as just saying the adverb 그냥. Just like ㅁㅁㅁ. So if you say like 그냥 했어요, I just did it. 그냥 했을 따름이에요. Like it's all, I just did it. 했을 뿐이에요. 했을 따름이에요. 그냥 했어요. Same sort of type of nuance. But when you use this with a descriptive verb, let's just say thankful. Actually, let's make it even simpler. That way I don't talk about the exceptions. Let's use it with 감사하다 to mean to be thankful. Now, it can just mean it's only or just. So I am only thankful. Literally, you're saying I'm just thankful. But the nuance of that is basically saying so. So I am so thankful. By literally saying I am only and nothing else. Like I'm only so thankful and nothing else. That's all I am is thankful. Meaning like I'm full of it. Not full of it, but I'm full of whatever the descriptive verb is. So, when it's used with the descriptive verb, it's most commonly used with descriptive verbs that show emotion. Emotion. So, types of emotion would be like any way that you feel. So this can be like any way that you feel. Like you can feel appreciation. You can feel like hope or regret or sorrow or surprise or tired. Any way that you feel is going to mean that it's just stronger with this form. Again, it's like saying so. Because it means only and nothing else, this is like saying, I have nothing but happiness. You know, I have nothing but hope. After I heard this, I have nothing but hope. Kind of like that, because you're literally saying only that. Or, to be just so. I'm just so thankful. Because again, you're saying only thankful and nothing else. I'm just so thankful. And then for more emphasis, you could also think of it as meaning, I'm just so thankful, that's all, right? It just has that emphasis, like, that's all, like, and nothing else, right? We might say that in English too. I'm just so thankful, that's all. Like, I'm just explaining it. All I am is just thankful, is this form. So we do the kind of same thing. We do kind of the same thing in English. This is how you could do it in Korean. So if you use this form, most of the time it's going to be used with a descriptive verb, and that will be some sort of emotion, some way that you feel. And it means so much, so that emotion. That's how this form mostly gets used in formal speech again. Or more formal speech. It doesn't have to only be in formal speech like 입니다. You can also see it in 이에요, but you're not going to see this in casual speech or in everyday conversations. There's one more thing though you need to know about this form, but I'll leave this up for a second so you can write down notes. And I check the chat. I don't want to go too fast. Ramen on pizza. That sounds weird. I've never tried it though, but it doesn't sound good. My favorite is onion, sausage, and mushroom. Oh, that sounds really good. I'm a fan of covering my pizza with vegetables so that way I can think I'm eating healthy. Kind of like when you go to Subway and you're like, man, that was a good diet meal. Don't look at the calories though. That was a good diet meal, right? Tell me that was a good diet meal. But yeah, that still, I like to put lots of vegetables. Rome has sliced potato on pizza. I can't even imagine. But if you say it's good, okay. Nutella pizza? Wow. Only bread and Nutella? So it's just Nutella bread then. It's not pizza, is it? Nutella pizza is actually good, although I don't think I'm buying that one. Okay, that sounds interesting. In Sweden, kebab pizza. Interesting. I can't imagine some of these. I've never seen any of these. I'm open to it. I like pizza. I even like dessert pizza. You know, it's not pizza. To me, it's more like, it's just like dough. It's like bread with toppings on it, but still, yeah, pizza's pizza. Is there any way to use this grammar pattern in future tense? I don't think so, because what you'd be saying is, if you're describing your emotion, you're saying, I am so thankful. I'm nothing but thankful. So you're basically, what you're trying to say is, can you say something like, if you do this for me, I will be only thankful. It sounds awkward. I can't think of a situation when you'd use it. Because you normally wouldn't use that in the future tense anyway. In Korean, you would say, if you want to say, if someone does something, I will be. In Korean, they commonly use not the will be, but the would be form, like 겠다. So I think this would sound awkward to say instead, I will be so only thankful if you do this. Would sound more awkward. It would be better to say would be. So in which case you wouldn't use this form, you just use 겠다. 진짜 재밌겠다. 좋겠다. 맛있겠다. Yeah, I wouldn't guess that you would. But if there's a native watching, if you can give me a sentence where you'd use 따름이다 in the future tense, like 따름일 거예요. I can't think of it. I can't think of any. It sounds weird to me, but then again, I'm not a native speaker, so. In Philippines, we have champurrado, chocolate porridge. Chocolate porridge? I don't even know what that is. Are we still talking about pizza here? Are you talking about the thing that's black but's not chocolate? You're the thing that you tell kids is chocolate? You're talking about that? The soup dish, the black one, that's not chocolate, unless you're talking about an actual chocolate dish. If you donate a kidney, I will just be so grateful. Donate a kidney. Chocolate rice porridge. Okay. I was thinking you're talking about the Filipino, the dish that people say is chocolate that's not chocolate. You know the one I'm talking about, that has like the meat or whatever in it. I really like it, but it's not chocolate. This is something else, some actual chocolate rice porridge. Okay, sounds interesting. Never tried it, never seen it. There's another thing that's different between this form and bun. So I said you could replace this with ㅁㅁㅁ in any sentence with a verb. And that's true. But you cannot always go back from ㅁㅁㅁ to 따름이다, because ㅁㅁㅁ has actually two options with verbs. You can do bun or you can do bun using the verb 이다. Now, there were differences between these two, which I teach in the class. There are some differences between these, and I taught the difference when I did the class about bun. Let me say that again. There are some differences between these, which I already taught in my other live stream. But the reason you cannot do this with 따름, you cannot have 따름 as the verb is because of what I just said. When you use this with the descriptive verb, ㅁ다 is a descriptive verb. It's a descriptive verb that shows emotion or how you feel. And ㅁ다 does not do that. It is simply to be. So something is. So if you wanted to say something is only with ㅁ다, you would not use 따름. Because, again, you're saying an emotion. You're not saying something is just, you're saying, I only feel this way. So because of that, there is no 따름이다. Whereas there is a 분 because of that nuance difference. Okay, I'll leave this up for another second. Then I'm going to go on to some example sentences because we haven't done a single example yet. And I know you guys are itching to see how this is actually used. Vegemite pizza. Oh, wow, that sounds extremely salty. I'll try it. I like Vegemite. It's pretty good. Just saying there's some weird foods that actually taste pretty good. Yeah, no, I mean, I can't imagine it, but I like some weird foods that taste really good. I mean, my favorite Korean food is sundae. Like, okay. My favorite pizza, I said, is anchovy pizza. Though the funny thing is, if you describe anchovy pizza to Koreans, they'll be confused because they don't typically eat those types of anchovies. The ones that are in the can. Koreans are familiar with the dried anchovies. So if you say anchovy pizza, they're going to think you put dried anchovies on a pizza, which would probably taste bad. Like having the crunchy, hard, dry texture on top of cheese. That wouldn't be good. So you have to explain to them that no, these are like, they're marinated in a can, usually with oil, and or fish oil. I don't know what kind of oil it is. And they're really salty and soft. And then they're just like grossed out. They're like, why would you eat those? Because it's not a common thing in Korea. Yeah, 한국인일 따름이 is wrong. Boar's Head makes an amazing chocolate hummus. Okay. Olivia, yeah. Make an anchovy and sundae pizza. Sounds vomitingly horrible. I've never tried sundae before, but I might someday. Combining with ice cream is a red flag, though. Yeah, I mean, I tried it, so you don't have to. It was horrible. It made Jeremy cry. Is there anything you could teach for someone to study abroad who's staying with a host family? I want to talk to them and understand things they say. Yeah, that would be just learning the Korean language. There isn't like a shortcut, like here are expressions that host families are going to use. There's nothing like that. I have a beginner course on my YouTube channel that teaches 100 lessons about all of the basics. Pretty much, it's most of the basics. If you watch that, you should be able to put together a bunch of simple sentences and understand a bunch of simple stuff. So I'd try that first. You get finished with that and you wonder what's next. Usually though, people, when they ask what's next, they haven't even started that yet. But I do have a sequel to that. The conversation course goes from there right into real, natural, 100% natural, native conversations. So you can watch that as soon as you finish the beginner course. Is there anything you could teach? Oh, that's the same thing. I was going to read it again. My grandkids love when 할머니 makes them. Makes what? Anchovy and sundae pizza? Or are you talking about something else? Or pizza, just regular pizza. Okay. Why is this? What is this doing? Oh, anchovies. Okay. Yeah, I like those too. So let's do a couple examples. Actually, let's do ㅁㅁㅁ. Just for the first one. Okay. 친구들에게, to my friends. 친구들에게 고마울, that's 고맙다, to be grateful, to feel grateful. 고마울 따름입니다. 고마울 따름입니다. So 친구들에게 고마울 따름입니다. So I am only and nothing else and nothing more grateful to my friends is what you're saying literally. That's like saying I have nothing but gratitude for my friends, or I'm just so thankful to my friends, that's all. Again, it's just emphasizing that there's nothing more, but by doing that, you're expressing it strongly. So it'll be used after a descriptive verb most of the time that shows an emotion. Now, there are cases when it's not only used with a descriptive verb. I'll give you a sentence next that's using an action verb. But in real usage, this will be used with a descriptive verb 99% of the time. 멸치, yes. 하와이안 피자 먹어보면 like I said, you wouldn't use it with the future tense, but you do you. Because again, it has you're not saying I think I will be full of this. I think I will have nothing but this, which kind of sounds awkward in English as well. I think that I will just be happy, that's all. You're using it when you're expressing a strong emotion, it already is there. You already feel that way. You're not going to be saying, "Oh, I'm going to be extremely happy when I see that." Like in Korean, it's just like, "What? You're not happy? Why are you using this if you're not already?" So it's using for expressing something you already are or something you were. So you can use it in past tense, 이었습니다, or 이었어요, like that, or present tense, like if you described it. But if it hasn't happened yet, you aren't yet that way. So you don't know that you're going to be that way. But I mean, it makes sense. It just would be a bit awkward. If it sounds awkward, does it mean that comedians can use it to be funny or to an effect? It means that if you are a foreigner comedian in Korea and you want to sound awkward, like you want to have just enough awkward Korean so people don't think you're a native speaker, then sure. But awkward Korean I don't think it would sound funny if you're trying to just speak normally. They'll just think, oh, this person doesn't know how to use the form. It sounds awkward. No, if you wanted to do funny jokes, Koreans have different sense of humor for comedians. It's pretty funny, but they don't do this. Yeah, this would be a really big topic, so I won't get into it. But basically, no, it will be awkward. Do you think learning vocabulary in the beginning is more important than listening? Learning vocabulary, no. Someone had asked a bit earlier if I think grammar or vocab is better in the beginning, and I said grammar. So you're asking, is vocabulary more important than listening? Listening is, you need to do that from day one. If you're not listening to Korean, then how did you even learn about Korean? Why are you interested in Korean if you're not listening to Korean at all? Like usually it would be something like, oh, I like Korean music, or I liked watching this show in Korea, or I liked, I want to be able to understand this person talking or something. You're going to have some sort of listening you've already done. You need to do listening the whole time. If I listen and don't understand, it is pointless. That's not true. But your friend can say anything because Koreans don't know, regular Korean people who aren't trained to be teachers for many years don't know anything about teaching their own language. In the same way that if someone were to come to you from Korea and ask you to teach them English, but they didn't speak even a word, like they didn't know the alphabet, could you teach them? No, of course not. You wouldn't be able to teach them. You could tell them if something sounds awkward or not, but even then you might be wrong about that. Like you might think, oh, it sounds awkward, but it sounds awkward because they said it with an accent. But if they said it naturally, it would be perfectly fine. There's a lot of cases like that too, in Korean as well. No, you have to be trained for that. So if you listen and don't understand, that's fine. It's not like listening a bunch, you'll suddenly understand, but you need to be listening so you can hear what the language even sounds like. And then when you start learning Korean, you'll start to hear the things you're learning, and that reinforces what you're learning. So that way it'll stick. Okay. Let's see. We need to listen, speak, and write. Yeah. Listen, speak, read, write. All of those are important skills. Polygon says, I can understand at full speed if I'm familiar with the forms or vocabulary. Yeah. If you're familiar with it, that's always going to be the issue is speed isn't really the biggest issue, I think. In fact, I have a video about this that I published a couple weeks ago on my channel, or maybe it was, yeah, I think it was about understanding fast Korean speech. And it's not really a big issue understanding fast Korean speech if you know the words. I feel like when you're familiar with sound change rules and you're familiar with the words spoken slowly, it's not going to be a big issue to be able to understand fast spoken Korean. That'll just take practice doing it. But the main issue when people say, I can't understand Korean spoken quickly, it's that you wouldn't understand it if it was spoken slowly either. So it's not really something you have to stress about separately. But anyway, I give some tips for that though in a video I uploaded, I think it was like 2 weeks ago that I filmed in Korea. Welcome. Okay. 저는. So I 기억나는 대로. So as I remember. So what I remember. You can think of this as like what. I have a separate live stream about this if you're curious. 말하다, to speak. 말했을, so past tense. 따름, only. 이에요. It's only I said what I remember. So all I said was what I remember. 저는 기억나는 대로 말했을 따름이에요. I just said what I remembered. Like that's all I did. All I did was say what I remembered. I didn't say anything else. All I said was what I can remember. 저는 기억나는 대로 말했을 따름이에요. So this one uses an action verb, 말하다, to say. 말했을. So it's only that I said what I remember. So in this case, because it's an action verb, it really just means that's it. It's only that and nothing else. So all I did and nothing else more, the only thing I did was that. So you can kind of translate it as like, you can kind of think of it as like, 저는 기억나는 대로, 저는 그냥 기억나는 대로 말했어요. You can kind of think of it as that, like that. 그냥 기억나는 대로 말했어요. Like 그냥, like that's it and nothing else and nothing more, just that. But this is more of the formal version of that. 저는 기억나는 대로 말했을 따름이에요. So all I did was say, so literally, it is only that I said what I remember. So that's it. I just said what I remembered. 따름이다. So what if someone's like praising you and they're saying, wow, you're so wonderful. I can't believe you did that. But you want to reply modestly. 저는 해야 할 일을 했을 따름입니다. 저는 해야 할 일을 했을 따름입니다. So all it is I did. 했을. 일을 하다. I worked or I did the work. I did the job. 해야 하다. That I have to do. 해야 할 일. The job that I need to do. You can kind of remember that as a separate word. 해야 할 일. Things I need to do or thing I need to do. So all I did was what I'm supposed to do. 저는 해야 할 일을 했을 따름입니다. 했을 따름입니다. Sorry. So I only did what I had to do. That's all I did and nothing else. I just did what I had to. Basically. 저는 해야 할 일을 했을 따름입니다. The rest of the examples I'll be giving you, though, are going to be using descriptive verbs, but I wanted to give you one or two that's actually common that you'll hear with action verbs. In fact, 해야 할 일을 하다 or 할 일을 하다. that kind of expression is one of the only ways you're going to see this used with action verbs anyway. Like, I only did what I was told to. Like, that sort of meaning. Most of the time, it's going to be used with a descriptive verb. Okay, I'll leave this up for just 30 seconds and we'll go on to the next sentence. Kat says PayPal. That's ominous. Let me check. Hold on. I don't have it open normally. Is this something from Kat? Kat! Thank you, Kat. Kat sent. I think Kat sent, unless someone else did, and Kat's taking the credit, in which case, shame on you. Thank you, Kat. Pretty sure it's Kat. Thank you, Kat, for the $10 demotion. $10 demotion. $10 donation. Man, I'm getting like dementia here. Okay, Kat, I'm going to give you 10 dabs. Because it's the Super Bowl, I'm going to give you some Super Bowl dabs. They're like this because you got to like go long, I guess. Is that how you play the Super Bowl? And then you score a 3-pointer in the ninth inning? I think that's how you play it, right? So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hut. That's how you play the football Super Bowl, right? You got to score the goal. Past the goalie, you gotta kick it in past the goalie and go into overtime, right? Okay. So, you gotta get that, you gotta score that checkmate, right? That's how you play the real football. What? I'm gonna skip this sentence because that I think it's gonna be better to do a different one. Kat says, I hate football. That's a very strong sentiment. I don't watch it, but I wouldn't go as far as to say I especially hate it. I just never see it. Okay, let me give this a shot. 어제 만들어야 할 음식을 만들었을 따름입니다. Yes, yes. All I did was make the food yesterday that I had to make. Although, I'm not really sure when you would explain that, but maybe someone said like, wow, that food you made yesterday saved my life. It was incredible. And you want to be like, no, no, no. All I did was just make the food I was supposed to make yesterday. Yeah, teiro has a few uses. So teiro is also, I mean, it's literally in the way of. So it's in the same way that I remembered it. But in English, I think what is going to be a natural way to translate it. Like I just said what I remember. I wrote down what I saw, 보는 대로, like that. 해야 할 일을 했을 뿐이에요. Exactly the same thing. Yep. All I did, I just did my job. Just doing my job, ma'am. Like that sort of expression. I'm just doing my job. 제가 도울 게 없다니 안타까울 따름이에요. So, 돕다, to help. 도울 게, something to help with. Something to help. 없다. There is nothing for me to help with. There's nothing for me to do to help. 제가 도울 게 없다니. This ni ending is not 니까 here. So it's not because, it's the reactive ending ni, which I've done a separate live stream about. Basically, you can think of it as being like, to think. Wow, to think that there's nothing for me to help with, like that. So to think there's nothing for me to help with. 안타깝다. Oh, that's too bad. That's unfortunate. 안타까울 따름이에요. It's nothing but unfortunate that there's nothing I can help with. So it's just so unfortunate. There's nothing that I can help you with. Oh man, 제가 도울 게 없다니 안타까울 따름이에요. To hear that There's nothing for me to help with. Can't believe it. Man, there's nothing for me to help with? Well, that sure is unfortunate. 제가 도울 게 없다니 안타까울 따름이에요. 사람들이 친절한 마음을 받고 보니까 감동했을 따름이었습니다. With lots of question marks. Gotta be more confident than that, Keith. If you make a mistake, you gotta do it with like the straightest, most confident face. Because you know what? Koreans do that too. Koreans make grammar mistakes a lot. And they'll do it completely confidently. And it doesn't really matter. You still understand what they're saying. If you make a mistake, but it mostly makes sense and you are confident about it, no one's even gonna notice. You can get away with a lot if you act confident. Let's read your sentence though. 감동하다 is a common verb. So all it was you wouldn't need to use the double. You can just 감동했을. Oh, I see you have a small typo there, 돔. You can do 했을 따름이에요 because you're describing how all it is based on something in the past. Like all it is that I was, is what you're saying. You don't need to say unless you're talking about a past situation when you were talking about feeling a certain way in the past, you wouldn't need to use the double past tense on that. Although I do have an example of a past tense form. I would say you can simply do, if you want to keep it simple, just pick one or the other. Yeah, 내가 말한 대로 해. So do what I said. Subject marker was wrong though. Grammar mistakes that Koreans make confidently. Yeah, there's a lot. I think it's just pretty much everything. I mean, I even watch some YouTubers that will make grammar mistakes and I'll be like, what? Like, you understand them. There's no problem. But I'll have to like pause the video and I'll ask my wife. I'm like, this person just said this. That's wrong, right? Like, I'm double checking. She's like, oh yeah, that's wrong. But if you watch it in the video, like, it's fine. You wouldn't even think about it twice if you're just listening to the person talk, because it's not a big deal. Okay. 맛있게 드시다. To enjoy. Eating. Like to eat deliciously, literally. Basically, this is like 먹으시다, right? Although you don't use 먹으시다, you'd use 드시다. So 맛있게 드셨다니. To hear or to know that, man, to think that you enjoyed eating it. 감사하다. 감사할 따름이에요. I am just so thankful that you enjoyed the meal. 맛있게 드셨다니 감사할 따름이에요. 맛있게 드셨다니 감사할 따름이에요. Man, to think that you enjoyed the meal, the fact that you enjoyed the meal is just fills me with gratitude. I feel so grateful that you enjoyed the meal, basically. 맛있게 드셨다니, or you might also hear 먹으셨다니 if someone doesn't know how to use the 드시다 form. Same thing. 감사할 따름이에요. Okay, I'll leave this up for just a sec. A couple more sentences. What if you say 따름이야? You wouldn't, because the form has a formal feeling to it. It's like, you think of formal, what do you think of like informal in English? You think of like a formal voice tone? Like, what might I get for you, sir? Like that. You wouldn't be like, what might I get for you, bro? It's like, it's a mismatch. So while grammatically it makes sense, it's not illogical. It's extremely awkward. Like, thou art. I don't know. Like, I don't know. You just can't mismatch like formal, fancy sounding Korean with casual speech, because casual sounds friendly. Specifically, it's not that casual sounds slangy, but casual sounds very friendly and close. And 따름 sounds formal. And it's, even though it's not only in like highly formal speech, it has a formal, polite feeling to it. So it's a mismatch. Katie says, I have an unrelated question. How unrelated are we talking? I used to switch my erasers every single week. But since I got this last time I went to Korea in the summer, this thing has survived like months. And I can just peel it when I need a new layer. I can just peel. I've used, I think, one layer so far. I can just peel it off and get a fresh new layer. I'm going to buy another one of these when I go to Korea next time. This thing works way better. 저 역시. 역시 is as expected. Like what I thought. Just as I thought. 죄송하다 is to be sorry. 죄송할 따름이에요. So, I'm just so sorry. As you expect. Basically, you know, I'm just so sorry. 저 역시 죄송할 따름이에요. As you know, I'm just full of sorriness. I'm just so sorry. That's all, as you know. I'm just so sorry, as you know. Basically. 저 역시 죄송할 따름이에요. I'm just so sorry, you know. Okay, I'll leave this up for a minute. See, how are we on the time? We're good. We're good. We're doing okay. I want to try to finish this before or by 3 o'clock, because I want to make sure that everyone has time to decide if they want to go watch the Super Bowl. Like I said, I'll probably watch commercials though for it, because I like the commercials. I feel like active something. Katie, I can answer that question if you want to stay after the class. I usually do unrelated questions after the class. I stick around. I'll stick around until 3:30 in my time, which is until the Super Bowl starts. So 첫 예문을 잘 만들려고 했을 따름이었는데 틀린 것 같네요. All I was doing was trying to make it the first example correctly, and then I messed up. I think it was wrong. Okay. Let's do a couple more. Yes, 2 more. I actually have a worksheet that has an additional like 10 examples of this form. So if you feel like you want more, there's more. There is a lot more. But I can't put them all in this lesson, because I feel like I feel like these lessons, I give you enough sentences to grasp it and take notes on it, but I don't want to try to just teach you, like, I don't want to try to have you like master the form through a single live stream, because that's not going to happen. I just want to give you the pieces that you need so that you're ready to see it in the real world, and then you're going to master it. Because I swear that the first time you see this form used in real life, it's going to click. Like, you're going to be like, oh my God, I get it. I get it. I finally get it. Was that the Danny DeVito from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? I think something like that. Okay. Oh, hey, Cameron. I mean, can I call you Cameron? Do I need to? Hey, hey. Wow. Oh my, wait, I was writing your name in black. I can't do that. You gotta be purple. My goodness. I was thinking like, where have you been, man? Miss you, big guy. Am I a big guy? I'm trying to watch my weight, because, you know, it's not for like health reasons or anything. It's just because I literally can't fit in this shirt if I were to gain more than like 2 pounds. No, I think I can gain up to 5 pounds before it starts to get uncomfortable. So that's my motivation to keep my weight down. But yeah, wow. Cameron Blammern, it all works. I think we need to do some dabs. Hold on. Get the dab party started. Get some stars in here. Get some music. Let's do 100 football dab. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hut. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hut. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hut. That's 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Hut. 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. Hut. 50. Hold on, we need some more music. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9. Hut. 60. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hut. 70. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hut. Wait, how many is that? I think that's 80. Is that 80? Please tell me that's 80. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hut. 90. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, my arms actually hurt. Hut. Hut. Oh man. I haven't done that many dabs in a long time. That 80, okay, thank God. I was gonna say that's gonna go toward my new computer, but not in this market. I'm not buying a new computer for years, unfortunately. I'm just stuck with my current one. But I did 2 weeks ago, thanks to donations, I did get to finally get a new mouse that I'd been using for 10 years. I got a new mouse, as well as a keyboard. I got my first mechanical keyboard, which is nice, very nice to type on that now. So it feels like I got a new computer, even though it's the same one I've been using now for 10 years. But thank you. Computer subscription. Oh God, I hope not. But I mean, they already have it. They already have computer subscriptions. The thing is, like, it would suck because I need to do the work on my own computer. I don't want to send my computer data over a server. I want it on my own computer. I want to be able to back it up myself. Like literally just plug in the drive, back it up. What if my internet goes down? I still want to be able to do my work. I don't need the internet to do 90% of what I do on my computer. It's just editing. I hope that's not the answer. You're lucky no one is rich enough to donate 50,000. I don't know if I'm lucky. If someone donated 50,000, I would do 50,000 dabs over the course of a few days. Yeah, I would do 50,000 dabs over the course of a few days. Happily. I wouldn't look happy, but I would do it happily. You'll be tired for the Super Bowl. Yeah, I haven't done dabs in a long time, so doing 100 again, I'm like, oh, 100, no big deal. I used to do that all the time. No, it's hard. I forgot. After I did 30, my arms are like, wait a second, Billy, you sure? Tore background information. Yeah, the Teiform, if you would like to ask, I can give you a quick overview of Teiform versus Solform after. Okay, that would burn a ton of calories. Yeah, at least 50,000 calories. That's why it would need to be a few days. I would take breaks and you'd watch me do a mukbang eating like 10,000 calories and then do 10,000 dabs and then vomit everywhere and then eat another 10,000 calories. I'd be like Michael Phelps diet. Just 10,000 calories per day. It'd be like a week's process where I'm doing 10,000 dabs per day for 5 days. I'm gonna do the Olympic sport for dabbing. I'm gonna enter for the Team USA for dabbing. I'll be the only one competing, so it's like automatic gold, silver, and bronze medal. Okay, where was I before my arms started falling off? Oh, here we go. Hey, it's the Solform. I'll mention that. 따름이지만 okay, we're running out of space here, but it should be okay. Okay. 잠, sleep, 부족하다, to be insufficient. So if you say something is 부족하다, it means that you don't have enough of it. 잠이 부족해서. So 잠이 부족하다 means I'm not getting enough sleep. So because I'm not getting a lot of sleep, 피곤하다, to be tired. 피곤할 따름. I'm so tired. Again, this is like nothing but tired. I'm just filled with tiredness, basically. 잠이 부족해서 피곤할 따름이지만. However, 괜찮아요. I'm okay. 괜찮아요. So, I'm just so tired because I'm not getting enough sleep, but 괜찮아요. I'm okay. 잠이 부족해서 피곤할 따름이지만 괜찮아요. I'm just so tired because I'm not sleeping enough or I'm not getting enough sleep. But I'm okay. Although I'm not okay. Okay, I'll leave this up for just a minute. Now my legs are like wobbling. I didn't even move my legs for dabbing. I think my body's like, it can't put any more stress on my arms, so it just pushed it to the rest of my body. You'll be the dabbing world champion. Yes. Yes. Okay. One more sentence we're going to do. Whew. Let's leave this up for 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 다들 어떻게 공부를 하는지 궁금할 따름이었어요. 다들 is everyone, all of you. Now, this is an informal word. So it's not casual, but it could be casual if you use it in casual speech. Basically, it's like 여러분, but it's not for formal speech. So, 다들, all you, all y'all, 어떻게 공부를 하는지, how all of you are studying. This T form is used for any sort of unknown information. I have a separate live stream that goes all over every usage of this, but basically, how all of you are studying, 궁금하다, to be curious how all of you are studying, 궁금할 따름, 이었어요, past tense, so it was. So I was only curious. Notice that this one's in present tense, 궁금할, but this one's in past tense. That's fine to do. You can do either one. So, I was, basically you're saying the situation was only that I was curious how everyone is studying. So I was just curious. I was just so curious how everyone is studying. 다들 어떻게 공부를 하는지 궁금할 따름이었어요. 다들 어떻게 공부를 하는지 궁금할 따름이었어요. So I was just so curious how all of you are studying. Like that. 다들 어떻게 공부를 하는지 궁금할 따름이었어요. I was just so curious how everyone is studying. I'll leave this up for just a minute. 발이 힘이 없어요. Yes. Can we have 2 more sentences? Well, there are actually 10 more sentences if you get the worksheet, but I timed this lesson so that I can finish it right at 3 o'clock because I know I don't want, if any of you are watching the Super Bowl, I don't want you to have to like pick between me and the Super Bowl. And that starts in 30 minutes. Although, you know, it doesn't actually start, and there's like 20 minutes of playing. But anyway, that technically will start in 30 minutes. So I wanted to make sure everyone has that choice. Dabs, 너무 많이 하셔서 피곤할 따름인데도 멈추지가 않겠습니다. All right. So you'd say, 멈추지를. The reason is the 가 않다. If you're saying 지 가, it's for a descriptive verb, since you're using a subject marker there. For an action verb, if you're saying 지 않다, you're literally saying, excuse me, 지 않하다. 않다 is just shortened for 안하다. So you couldn't say 안하다 with the subject marker, you would say it with the object marker. But you could do something like 피곤하지가 않네요. Because you're saying 피곤하지가, you're saying the tiredness is not as a description, 않아요. But you wouldn't do it for an action verb. You'd have to use it with the object marker. Random, but donate on Billy's website. I generally go there myself, but figured a little PSA was due. YouTube takes the percentage, so he keeps much more via the website. I'd rather pay the slim man. Yeah, I'm fine with it either way. I'm happy about YouTube getting a portion of the money either. It doesn't bother me at all because, I mean, they pay for the servers to host it. They should get something at least besides, or I mean, they do get the ad revenue, but I don't put ads on these live streams on purpose. So I don't know. You'll only be watching ads at all for my live streams if you see them after they're live. But I purposely disable live ads for every live stream I've ever done, just because I don't want it to be interrupted. I'll be like, hey, so the secret to using this form is, and then it'll be like, did you know Factor will get you the best, like, I don't know, some, you know, meal advertisement or something like that. Raid, Shadow Legends. Like, I don't want that stuff to interrupt while I'm in the middle of teaching something, so I turn them off. But if you watch this live after it's over, then YouTube sticks ads on it like normal. 누가, oh, Mad Dog. If you ever do 누구 with 가, it just becomes 누가. 누가 슈퍼볼 이길지, you can remove the 는 since it's not present tense. 이길지 궁금할 따름이에요. Small typo for there, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, Raid, the Super Bowl sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, branded Factor meal kits, sponsored by BetterHelp, and I don't know what else there is that keeps popping up on YouTube every second. Oh yeah, there's that AI generated Tai Chi workout thing which has some like, I hate those ones. Those are the ones I hate. Like the other ones I'm like, okay, you know, I know your stuff's not that good, but that one like I legitimately hate. They're just totally fake, like ads, like totally AI generated stuff. ExpressVPN, I don't know. I don't know. I use VPN when I'm in Korea, and I'll use one for here in the US as well, but I've never gotten a sponsorship for them. So I also don't know which one's the best. I've used a few though. Okay. Now, if you want some extra examples, make sure to check out the worksheet on my Patreon. There will be, I think, 10 extra example sentences, and many of them are more difficult than the ones that we did for today. So that is our lesson. That is how to use 따름. Now, all of you are masters at using 따름이다. Let me get a quick thumbnail. I don't know what I do for my thumbnail. It has to be something like, maybe like that. That's a good thumbnail, right? That should be good. Then I can write whatever I want here. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Get ads for those miracle heaters that supposedly heat your room in 90 seconds and they use very little energy. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's not gonna do a dab. Okay, I'll do a dab. There we go. That'll be the thumbnail then. Yeah, there'll be like some AI thing with some like shirtless guy who looks like he's 60. It'll be like, how old are you? I'm 85. What? How did you do that? By doing Tai Chi every single day, like AI generated, by doing Tai Chi every single day. That's all I do. I don't do any special diet or any special exercise. And it's like all AI generated spokesperson. My dad actually died 5 years ago, but Tai Chi brought him back to life. And it'll be like some dad that, you know, like doing some Tai Chi thing like that. I always report those ones. They still keep popping up. No ads. Well, I mean, I won't put ads on these live streams while they're live. I also don't put ads on any of the beginner course videos while you're watching them. There are ads at the beginning of them, and I think at the end, but I don't have any when you're watching it because I don't want any interruptions. And as well as the learn the Korean alphabet video I have also, it has an ad at the beginning and an ad at the end, but it doesn't have any ads in between. So I feel like you're already watching an 1.5 hour long video. Like, you really want to watch it in like 100,000 pieces that are like, it makes it 5 hours to watch. It's already long enough to watch with the sound change rolls. Yes. Okay, now, since our lesson is over, now I'm going to be taking questions. So if anyone has any question, doesn't have to be about the lesson today, anything you'd like to know about Korean or Korea, now is a good time to ask. 90-year-old AI men with rock hard abs. That's right. And 7 fingers. Yeah. Like, I don't know how you do it. Yeah, I do Tai Chi every day. Look how healthy I am. And they're like, mouth doesn't really match. Oh man, I hate those ones. Like, that would be the stuff that the actors would be embarrassed to do, that would go on like TV at 2 a.m. But they don't need to worry about that anymore. They just generate someone to say it. Get whatever. One of them was like, it had a fake girl doing a podcast. And it was probably like supposed to be like a 15-year-old girl doing a podcast, interviewing this 60-year-old guy or 40, I don't know, 50-year-old Asian guy without a shirt on. And then she's like, what do you for making healthy? Or something. Like, the English was wrong. Like, what? Like, the person who made it didn't even bother to spell check their English using the AI tool that they made to make the app, used to make the app. I don't know. But you know, it's kind of sad though. Like, I mean, there's some funny cases of like fun uses of AI, like like Bob Barker swearing on The Price is Right, or stuff like, there's goofy uses, but the one that's like the stuff where they use it to like deceive people, kind of, it just seems like, I don't like that. It bothers me. Could you explain the difference between nunde for background and using, okay, so, oh, Noah's saying the latest podcast, maybe you want to try Yuja. Oh yeah, Yujata is great. I love it. You totally should try it. You can get it outside of Korea fairly easily. You can even buy it on the internet. It's a pretty easy item to get. It's good. Okay, so Katie, the Tae form is completely different than Seol. Seol has separate uses, but the Tae form, what's different is I always like to compare the Tae form like you're holding up your hand. So anything you say with Tae is like putting something on one hand. And I mean that in like every usage of that in English, where if you're talking about something, oh, 그런데, you're bringing attention to it by holding it out in front of you on one hand. You're also doing that can show contrast. The listener, when they see you bring up something like, well, I like this, implies you might also bring up a counterpoint to it on the other hand, right? It also is like, hey, look at this. What do you think? Or it's like, hey, so here's some information I'm going to tell you about. And now that's the base. Like, I'm bringing up something to you. So it has the feeling, like literally and figuratively, of putting one of your hands up and holding the information up to someone else listening. Be like, for every single time you use Tae. So it can translate as and or but it can also translate it as just like, though. Like, well, I like it though. As in like, what about you? I like it though. Or I like it and it's this. Or I like it, but it's this. Most of the time it tends to get used for contrasting. So in which case it'll get translated as but, like 9 out of 10. But it doesn't only mean that, because it can use, like I said, it can be used for more than just contrasting with something else. It's also just used for, hey, I'm bringing up something. 그래서 지난번에 친구를 만났는데, so like I met my friend last time. So now you have this background information like, hey, so I met my friend this other time. So this is what you're going to be focusing on right now. And then now I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to contrast it with something. It might be and, or it might be but, or it might just be, you know, whatever that's going to connect to that. So I want to try chimsur, says Keith. I'm scared. I wouldn't want to try it. I mean, I'm not going to knock it. I'm sure for people it works for people who it works for. I don't know if it would work for me though. I don't know. It seems like it would be a placebo. Like it would actually work, but I don't think it would actually like work. I think it would just work because you think it works, which means it actually works. That sort of like actual placebo, not like it doesn't do anything, but like it actually does because you think it will. So I don't know if it would work on me. I feel like there's no relation between poking my finger and my digestive system. Right? But then what do I know? I'm not a doctor. And some people swear by it. Like it's the only way some people feel like it helps them. There's a gaming channel in Discord. Yes, I did use Steam. I haven't played it in a while because I got so busy. Especially I got, originally it was I got too busy with the other series I was doing, the sentence series. And then when I came back from Korea, I got too busy working on the podcast. So that's taken all of my time. However, once I finish the Stray Kids videos, I will have a little bit more time again. Maybe? We'll see. Kolduda. Give me what did you see it in? How do I practice speaking Korean? I want to shadow K-drama. I wouldn't shadow K-drama. I wouldn't recommend that unless they're speaking slowly. I would shadow variety shows, like talk shows. You can find lots of talk shows in Korea, like even something like the refrigerator show where they go through the refrigerator and do cooking. Travel shows are fine. Any sort of variety show is going to be fine because they'll speak at a regular speed. Dramas, though, you'll have to find a drama where the character's speaking slowly. So maybe some romance dramas might be better for that, like morning drama, atsim drama, which would be like what we'd call soap opera. Those might be better because those don't have the best quality writing. So they're not going to be like really, really intelligently written. They're going to be kind of closer to reality. I was seeing a gameplay of Pokemon Yellow and Professor Oak said, 잠깐 기다리렴. 함부로 나가지 마라. 위험할 뻔했다. So you would have been in danger is basically what he's saying. So the 뻔하다 is to almost do something like would have been something dangerous is what it's saying. That was close. It's not almost as in it's like koi. Koi is when it's not quite something, but it's almost something. That's koi, the adverb, koi. But 뻔하다 is almost do something or almost was something as in could have been, not like almost reaching a point. Now you can use koi together with 뻔하다, and I've taught about that in a live stream before. But yeah, basically he's just saying, oh man, that was close. Pokemon Korean playthrough sounds fun. What about something like 한국 요리를 잘하는데 김밥을 잘 만들다? I'm not quite sure what the sentence should be. So are you trying to say I can make Korean food well and I make kimbap well? You probably wouldn't need to do, so I cook Korean food really well. I cook kimbap well. Kind of like you don't need it because you're not really making a statement based on that. You're just saying and, in which case you can just say and or but or whatever you want directly. But if you want to have this, it's kind of like, again, it's like, do you need to bring this up to the person? Like, hey, so, you know, by the way, hey, look at this. It's more for those sorts of uses, the day form. 죽을 뻔했어요. Yeah, I almost died. Again, it's not like you got close to dying, but you didn't. It's saying that sort of thing almost happened. It was close to happening, basically. 내 삶을 거둬도. Sweet venom? Sweet venom? Okay. I don't know that song. You said it's an N hyphen song? What does the English translation say for that? Although I will warn against, not warn, but caution you for when you translate lyrics, you're actually translating poetry, which is a very difficult thing to translate in Korean because the words don't always have to match like the literal meaning. You can kind of use them just however you want, just to invoke a feeling more than a literal meaning. Seoul is better there. It's a logical conclusion. Yeah, you can use Seoul for there, like because I can make Korean food well, or you might say I cook Korean food well, but I can't make kimbap. You could use a but form or like tae. So like, hey, so I could cook Korean food pretty well, but I can't make kimbap. Like you can say like that. The life I will live, please reserve for me. Yeah, descriptive verbs. Yeah, you can use it for descriptive verbs, although you'll probably see in lessons it's most often taught with an action since you're almost doing something most of the time, but it could have been whatever. It could have been that is also fine to use it as well. But yeah, I did a separate live stream all about that. The bonhada form pretty much just almost happened, almost was, as in like could have been. And that would be for something that's like unintentional specifically. So like you didn't mean to and it almost happened sort of thing. 한국어 잘 할까 싶어요. So I'm wondering, could I speak good Korean? Is that what you're saying? 근데 매일 열심히 공부하고 연습하려고 해요. The second part is totally perfect. But I'm trying to practice. I'm trying to study hard and practice every single day. 제가 한국어 잘할까 싶네요. I'm wondering if I can actually speak Korean well, kind of like that, is what you mean? Okay, let's get, we can do a couple more questions. Like I said, I'll stop at the bottom of the hour because I want to let anyone who's looking forward to watching the Super Bowl can go do that at the end of the hour. Sorry, at the bottom of the hour. That's when it's supposed to start. I'm probably just going to watch the commercials. I'll probably watch the halftime show. And that's pretty much it. So I'll, tune in for the commercials while I'm editing this video. I just have to figure out how to watch it. I did hear that if I stick literally a paperclip into the coax import on a TV, that you can get local television. I'm not joking. I just read this today. That's ridiculous. But apparently if you stick a paperclip into a coax cable, is this true? That you just bend a paperclip because it's like the 4-centimeter wavelength or whatever of TV, I guess. You just bend it in, stick it in there. You'll get you'll get kind of decent quality local TV on a regular TV set. I never tried it. Someone just posted on the internet. I'm thinking I might try that. And I do have a TV. I have my TV I use in my podcast set. I don't know if that's true, but several people were saying that. I'm like, that sounds ridiculous. Sounds like they're trolling. But if they're trolling, multiple people then wouldn't say that. So I don't know. If your TV is newer, basic should work. Okay. Yeah, because I don't know if I want to stream it on the internet or just try to watch it on the TV. Yeah, obviously you're not going to get cable that way, but like the local channels, which would normally be free anyway, I don't know. Sticking a fork in your coax port. Yeah, I know. I mean, technically your coax is just a single wire. So why wouldn't it? But at the same time, you normally have a nice satellite on top of your roof to get a much clearer signal, and they're usually bigger. But I guess they do sell like home antenna sets for like $10 anyway. And those are just, wire looping around inside of a piece of plastic. So maybe, I don't know. I don't know who has Super Bowl rights. Me neither. I'm old enough to remember using a coat hanger for an arrow. Yeah, so it might be a real thing. I heard I heard a paperclip though will also work. But then again, this could have been a bunch of people on the internet trolling. I mean, I also remember my grandma had a TV. This would have been early 90s or very late 80s. So when I was like pretty much very like a baby. And if you put your hand on the antenna, you'd get a better signal. So like we were watching TV and it would be like a channel we wouldn't quite get. Just grab the antenna and kind of like hold it. And then you get a much better signal. Like that sort of stuff, right? Or we had a portable TV, like one of those little tiny portable black and white TVs that I would take on road trips. And then while you're driving, you tune to a different channel and hope that you catch something while you're driving through like a city. And then, yeah, that as well. I'd grab the antenna, kind of move it around and hope that I can get a station better. And I like try letting go and grabbing it and notice how the signal would get better or worse. Yes, you can do it. And then the sol form, it has several uses. I won't say it's only because it has other uses as well. But if you're learning with sol and de, that's probably the only form they've taught you about sol is just because. So that's what younger siblings were for. Yeah, boosting the signal and using controller 2. That's right. You tell your sibling that the player 2 can control the enemies in the game. And you give them the weird Xbox controller or the weird Super Nintendo controller, the one that has like the turbo button, but the stick doesn't really work well. Honyogen, take my life. Okay. I think it said figuratively because they have a vampire concept. Well, then there you go. That's the meaning. That's the meaning of it. What are your thoughts on the Korean healthcare system? So I actually talk about this in an upcoming podcast episode that you'll see in like a few weeks. Because I always film them a few weeks in advance. And I really like it. It's the best I've ever heard about in like anywhere. I don't know about, like, I'm sure there's some European countries that have it just as good. But Korea's healthcare system is like worlds better than the US. It's also even better than Japan's. So I'm not like saying that, oh, that's the model in the Asian countries. No, Korea's got something special going on. They have Korea has what's known as a single payer system, which is where you pay insurance into one single company that is managed by the government, I believe. And it's one company that works with the hospitals, and one company picks the prices of stuff. They pick what's covered, what's not covered, all that stuff. And that way the hospitals are only managing with one company. They can't go to another like, oh, we'll pay you more. I'll only work with you. I don't want to work with that one. They don't pay me enough. You don't have that situation like we do in the US. It's one company. The hospital says, hey, the patient did this, pay us this much money. And the one company has experience with that. They're like, no. You did this, you get this much money, that's it. And they're like, oh, okay. Otherwise, they're not going to get paid. So you got single payer. It means you have so many options for hospitals you can go to. If you get sick, you just walk down the street to your local hospital, give them your insurance information, get treated, pay a couple dollars. Like it's not a copay per se. It's just a small partial payment that you do. Like get an x-ray, talk with the doctor for 10 minutes, medicine, all that stuff be like $5. It's not free. So you're not just going to go to the hospital when nothing's wrong, because you don't want to spend, $10 if you don't need to, but it's just so affordable that you never have to think about like, can I pay for this? I don't know if I can afford this. Like, no, of course you can. Like, you're not getting some major surgery. Everything is affordable for that. So I think it's the best in the world personally. As long as you are a tax-paying resident of Korea, you can get access to it. And yeah, it's just great. If you have any specific questions about it, I'd be happy to answer them as well. And I'll add this as well. Even if you don't have insurance, so you might be thinking that's great for Koreans, but what about me? I'm a tourist. No. Even if you don't have insurance, it is ridiculously affordable. My copay in the US, when I go to the hospital, even if I don't do anything, even if the doctor just says, oh, hey, here's aspirin, bye. Even if I do nothing, it's $60 just to say hi to the doctor. The doctor's calls me on the phone and says, hey, we got your lab reports. This is it. You're negative that or that. Here you go. Or please see me next week. $60 just to say hi to the doctor on the phone, right? We did, without insurance, we got Jeremy a bunch of fillings in Korea because he had a bunch of little cavities. They weren't like serious. They weren't causing problems, but we did some x-rays in Korea just because we were like, let's do some checkups for Jeremy. They checked his teeth, did full x-rays, found a few little cavities. They're like, hey, we want to do this right now before it gets worse. Did like a bunch of fillings on all of his teeth, both top and bottom. We paid out of pocket, didn't use insurance. I think we paid like $200 for, I'm not even joking, 5 visits to the dentist over the course of a couple weeks because they wanted to break it up so it wasn't too much. No, 4 visits. I won't exaggerate. And that was without insurance. I had, what did I have? I went to the doctor once several years ago for a cold, I think, and I didn't use insurance for that either. And I think I paid like $15 for medicine and meeting with the doctor and talking with them for like 10, 15 minutes. And then a follow-up appointment or something after that, where just kind of go in really quick and say, I'm good now, bye. Like you can, even without insurance. And the cool thing is actually, if you have insurance in your home country, they'll probably also cover it because of how cheap it is. They're like, oh, a $10 bill, like $30 bill. Sure. We'll cover it. Yeah, it's the best. I feel so healthy and so safe in Korea. And I'm seriously considering someday retiring in Korea because of that. Because US, it's ridiculous. I'm paying right now close to $500 a month for health insurance. And we don't even go to the hospital. Like we're healthy for the most part, but that's like, I can't not get health insurance, right? Because what if something serious happens to Jeremy? So it's not just gambling with my own life. It's my family's. Yeah. Korea is really good as far as health insurance goes. Korean doctors also do not make $500,000, but you might think that Korean doctors are not making a lot of money. That's not true. Korean doctors also make a lot of money, but it's not like you said, it's not like millions. It's not like 500,000, unless there's like a famous plastic surgeon. Sure. Some of the famous plastic surgeons, they're always fully booked. Some, the really popular doctors, like the really skilled doctors at this hospital, they might make a lot, but it's like being like a superstar, basically. Regular doctors are making maybe close to 100 to 200 grand a year. I had in the past 2 friends who were professional doctors. I had someone who was a professional dentist who moved on to being a forensic dentist, I think. Not dentist, forensic dental analyst. I don't know, something like that. And another friend who was like a lung doctor. And both of them they told me both of them made between $150,000 and $250,000 a year. Which is in Korea, that's like fully middle class. Like you're good, you're well off. But they weren't making like millions. So yeah, they still make plenty to live is what I mean. So it's not like their doctors aren't making any money or anything. They still make money. They're just not making like millions and millions of dollars sort of money. It's not utopia though. I know it's just the health insurance. Yes. Health insurance is freaking utopia. It's the best I could possibly imagine. I would love, this isn't like political even. I would love if the US can get single payer healthcare. Like it's so good. Everyone wants this, really. If you experience it, you're going to want it. Doesn't matter what your political affiliation is. It's good. Do they allow medical vacations, basically, that people do where they take a vacation just to have medical testing? Yes. You can make appointments with Korean hospitals and then go to Korea, do your procedures there and come back. In fact, the very detail focused of you may notice occasionally I will cough like randomly, or it's not me like coughing normally. It's because I have something called 충농증. Since you guys are here anyway, I'll share with you the 65 of you who are the real fans of me. the real Billy fans, right, are still here, I hope. This is sinusitis. Basically, it's like it's like permanent allergies, I guess is a way to describe it, where your nose is like, the cavity is a little bit small and it's always getting blocked. So I had it really bad in the past. Like I couldn't breathe out of both of my noses most of the time. And then some days I could breathe out of one. And then when I got sick, if I ever got a cold or a flu, it would be like really bad for like weeks, where it's just my nose is stuffed the whole time permanently. So I finally had enough, and I went to the doctor in Korea, and they did a scan up my nose, and they're like, bro, the doctor's eyes were like, this is the worst I've ever seen, is what he said to me, which is not something you want to hear a doctor say. But yeah, the doctor's like, yeah, you got full acute sinusitis. Mansong is what he said, which is like acute. Not that it's cute, but it was very serious. And he's like, oh, you must have had this for a minimum of 5 or more years. I didn't even know. But he's like, this is the worst I've ever seen. So he's like, I highly suggest you get surgery, but at least you should take some sort of, steroid for helping your nose. So I went to the doctor. I went to the it was a ibinhukwa, so an ear, nose, and throat doctor, like a professional surgery, like a real nice place, marble floors, everything, like a nice, pretty reception desk, professional workers wearing like, suits and stuff. So I went to one that was in Suwon, where I was staying. And I didn't have insurance. So we did the consultation with them. They did a scan, they did some tests, and they're like, okay, so here's how it works. You don't have insurance, although I don't think it would have really been fully covered anyway, because it's not like a life or death procedure. It's just more of an annoyance type of thing. So I'd have to pay. But it would take, they're like, yeah, it's going to take a full surgery. You're going to have to go under. We're going to need an anesthesiologist. You're going to be recovering in the hospital for a minimum of 2 days, could be up to a week, depending on how you're feeling. You're going to need medicine while you're in the hospital, as well as medicine for several weeks afterward. You're going to need this and this and this, and you're going to need to have at least 10 follow-up visits with the doctor, because I had to keep going back and they had to keep like removing stuff from my nose. It's kind of gross and it hurt. But all that stuff included, the process was about a month. It was like an hour or two for the surgery itself. I was in the hospital for 2 days and medicine for a few weeks and like 10 or so visits to the doctor. Guess how much you think that cost? Now, like I said, I had the surgery to fix it. I still technically have it, because it's not something that's like, I still have it, but I don't have any symptoms from it anymore, except for sometimes I'll cough, because my throat also still is, sometimes makes too much phlegm just from being really sensitive, but it's not able to now clog my nose like it used to. So I'm able to breathe through both of my nostrils like all the time, which is nice. Take a guess. I paid for, what would be the 400만 원. I paid 400만 won. Which, if you really want the lazy conversion, just do that to get dollars. Less than $4,000 out of pocket. Less than $4,000 for this full surgery. I mean, obviously it's not a heart transplant, but this would have been in the US another zero. Like, not even joking. This is like because I didn't do a basic procedure. They did the full one. They had an alternative where they just kind of pull stuff out of your nose and clean it up. And then, you go get it again. No, I did the full like fixed surgery where they widen your nose canal and everything. I don't remember a single bit of it, because I slept and woke up a second later. But yeah, as soon as they said that, like, this is a fancy hospital, like, all the frills, really nice, like sparkling marble floors, everything. I was like, yes, please, let's do it. And yeah, the initial price of the surgery was just under 3,000. And then the follow-ups and all the medicine and everything like that after came up to closer around 4,000, because I had to keep going back for visits. I would do that again in a second. Fortunately, I don't have to. I've been taking good care of it, and it hasn't come back. They said about 50% of cases, it'll come back within 2 years, actually. But I was maintaining it really well and doing everything the doctor said, because I didn't want to have to do it again. Yeah. So Keith guessed 2,500. You're not far off, because there would have been a way for me to get it cheaper if I just compared to other places, but I wanted to go there because it was kind of close to where I was staying. Yappin'. No, I don't mind. You can call it yappin'. Yeah. Corrective plastic surgery. Yeah, I'd say most people get a form of plastic surgery. Like the most common type of plastic surgery Koreans will get is just the double eyelid surgery. It's given to people just for like graduation gifts. Like, hey, happy graduation from high school. Here's your gift. I'll get you the double eyelid surgery. That's the most common one. But it's also really common that people will get their chin shaped, or their nose is also super common. In fact, I knew a guy, poor guy, he wasn't the most attractive guy, but I would say he's like, kind of normal looking dude in Korean guy. And he didn't like his nose. His nose was kind of, for him, he felt it was too big. So he's like, I'm going to get it fixed. I'm like, okay, cool. See him again after the summer. His nose got really skinny, like didn't look good. Like he asked for the Michael Jackson special. Like it was not good, but he didn't like it either. He's like, I don't like my nose. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, bro. Yeah. So it doesn't always go perfectly with that. You have to make sure you go to a good place, go to someone who has good reviews, and then hope that you're actually getting the doctor to do it and not just one of their assistants training. But plastic surgery, like small plastic surgery, is extremely common in Korea. I'd say, yeah, the majority of people that I know have gotten some form of plastic surgery, and pretty much every single celebrity that you know, with some exceptions, have gotten plastic surgery in one way or the other. It's not that big of a deal over there. Like they kind of think of it as like, oh, it's just a default thing. It's like, shaving your beard or something like that, or deciding, I'm going to change my hairstyle. It's kind of one of those types of decisions, not a huge deal. And it's not that expensive to do because of how common it is. So you might only pay a few $1,000s. If you could pay, I don't know the price because I've never done it, but if you could pay $5,000 to get it to change the shape of your chin, like it's not that bad. It's not that much. You can just figure, oh, I'll just do it, save up my money and get it done. And, now you have a nicer looking chin for the rest of your life. Like I'd say it's worth it. And it's common that people will go to Korea specifically just to do medical procedures and then go home. So my wife is a Korean citizen. So she will usually, in the summertime, she'll get her hospital stuff. She can get it taken care of in Korea because it's just so much easier than doing it here. Like she can go to the dentist. She can also go to the, hair salons, get her hair how she wants, all that stuff, visit the hospital, check on, my shoulder hurts, and get checkups on that and get x-rays and not have to worry about it. And you only pay a few $100s for everything total, versus in the US where, you'd be down thousands of dollars, and then the insurance will say they'll pay for it, but then you have a deductible that's $500 on a procedure that should have cost $50 in the first place. You know what I'm talking about. 선생님, 앞으로 건강했으면 좋겠어요. Thank you. Yeah, if I ever needed surgery, for most of it, I'd probably just go to Korea if I could wait, because you're going to save that money. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, take the plane, go to Korea, get the surgery done, stay there for a week, eat all the good Korean food, come back to the US, and you're still going to be out of pocket substantially less than if you did it in the US. I swear some have cheekbones done in some way. Yeah, cheekbones are another thing. I'm not a big fan of a lot of the plastic surgery that gets done because it doesn't look natural sometimes, especially as your face changes, right? Like if you get your chin short, like shrunk, it'll look really nice for like 10 years. And then after that, it just looks really awkward, right? Like what 40-year-old has like a sharp chin like that? It starts to look awkward. So I'm not a big fan of most of the type of surgery. I think double eyelids are fine because there are lots of Koreans that genetically have double eyelids anyway. So it's not that big of a deal if someone else wants to get theirs done like that. It's not like unnatural or anything. Nose, also, you kind of have to be careful because sometimes they get it done like too much and then now their nose looks unusually small, or you'll have a chance at like getting a deviated septum. Like you'll have some nose problems because you got it shrunk too much. But I feel like if you want to do it, just subtle is better. I'd say subtle is better. Have you ever talked about how you and your wife met? Nope. 한국에는 미적 기준이 너무 심하대요. As far as I know, South Korea has the highest number of plastic surgeries. I don't know. It's definitely high. It might be the highest. I want double eyelids, but I'm saving for retirement. Natural beauty still looks better. I mean, yeah, if you are a natural beauty, then sure. But there are a lot of people where, I mean, let's be honest, in this world, in Korea and the US, looks are important. And people judge you by your looks. And in Korea, having good looks can be the difference between getting a job and, getting a higher paying job. Then it's worth it in some cases. Like if you can go from looking like okay to looking like hot, then you probably are going to be better off financially in Korea, in the US too. But I mean, I'm not going to like diss anyone who wants to get that done. I mean, I think it shouldn't matter. Like, why does it matter what you look like? It should be, how well can you do the job? But in the reality, it does matter. So if people want to do that, like, yeah, go ahead and do it. Just, be smart about it. Go to a good place with lots of reviews. Don't overdo it. Be careful. Like, think about how it might look 10 years from now. Make sure you're doing it, you're taking good care of yourself. And there's some cases when, people get surgery and then they have bad reactions to it, or they have, the doctor didn't do a good job and they get infections and they have serious issues. There's those cases. You have to be careful about how you do it. But if you're being careful about it, I think, yeah, it's fine. I've never done plastic surgery before. What I have done is I tried a few years ago doing the eyebrows in Korea. The semi, what's the word? Not permanent, but it's like it lasts for like a year or so, where you get the eyebrow tattoo, where they don't shave off your eyebrows and draw a tattoo, but what they do is they'll cut it really nice and they'll trim it, make it look really nice by itself, and then they use like tattooing to kind of not permanently, doesn't last forever. They'll like fill it in so it makes your eyelids just look like perfect. And I did that once. Actually, I did it twice from a really good, like a reputable, like high quality artist, like a legitimate artist, and who did that for me. I was really satisfied. It looks so natural. And yeah, that's why I went back a second time. But I haven't done that recently. I didn't get that. The last time I got that, I think it was 2023. But besides that, no, I haven't really tried anything else. I'm not looking to change any part of me. I kind of like my oversized nose and my butt chin. I'm kind of happy with how I look for the most part. Yeah, microblading. That's what it is. Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't get it done just as a procedure, but the reason I did is because it was already someone who had really good reviews, recommended by someone who I knew who had really great looking eyebrows, and the person was like a legitimate artist. Like they had their own practice, like everything set up really nice, like total professional. And they weren't cheap. I think it was like $300, although I didn't have to pay it. But yeah, which is, you might think it's cheap, but that's like for Korea at the time, that was kind of on the high end. Yeah, totally worth it. Totally worth it. Cause I had pretty like weird eyebrows. Like my eyebrows were like coming up to here, but since I got that done, like we trimmed it off and made it look nice, and she shaped it. And I've tried to kind of maintain the shape so that it doesn't go back to what it used to look like. So it's still better than it used to be. People like to say they value character over appearance, but that feels simplistic. That's not exactly how the world works unless you're like a saint. But what do I know? Yeah, I feel like it's hard. I want to value only the person's character, but at the same time, I can't help but see what they also look like. But I feel like if someone is really cool, like really nice and really cool, that can usually overpower any of their appearance. But like the less attractive someone looks to me, it feels like they have to be a better person to overshadow the way that they might appear. But I try not to, because I know that's not a good way. That's not what you should be doing. You should be looking at people as how they treat you and how they act and everything like that. It's just hard. Like, it's our human nature to kind of subconsciously judge people based on how they look. It's not right. Um, but I feel like if you can, and that's me and I'm trying my best. What about other people that aren't trying their best and that really would just say, man, I don't want to be friends with that person. They don't look how I want them to look, something like that. I feel like, do what you have to do. Do what you feel is, do what you want to make you happy. Look the way, act the way you want to. Yeah. Nice. I would do the eyebrows since it's not permanent. Yeah, it wasn't permanent. They told me that it was like 반영. So like, or yeah, like you said, semi-permanent. And I was worried it was going to be like this tattoo that you could see. No. It's not like in the olden days, those types of eyebrow tattoos in Korea would be permanent and they would darken the skin. So if you see an old lady who, like today, if you would see someone in like their 60s or 70s and they have like this kind of bluish color eyebrow, that's because they got tattoo eyebrows done once in the 80s or the 70s or something, and they're still there. It just makes the skin look like bluish. So it's not that. These are like really natural looking. In fact, after you finish and look, you can't even see where the marks were done at all. I was looking like so close, like try to see you can't see anything. It just looks like completely natural. It does itch though. It kind of feels like someone's dragging a razor blade over your eyebrows really slowly. Like it feels like someone's slowly cutting off all your your eyebrows with a razor. So it's a little bit uncomfortable. Like in Korean, you'd say 따갑다. 따가워 is kind of like prickly. Yeah, that's the best way I can describe it. Is like if someone's dragging like a regular face razor over your eyebrows really slowly. It just kind of like it's kind of uncomfortable. It doesn't hurt, but it's like that, and that lasts for like, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. But besides that, it wasn't a big deal. No crying. No big deal. I'm sure if you had a tablet to watch, you probably could just ignore the whole thing. Yes. Let's put that on a shirt. Can I get it for my hairline? Yeah, Tony, but they actually have, if you want to do that. Heibel? I think it's Heibel. Let me check. Let me check this. I can't find it. I can't remember. No. There's a brand. I can't remember what it is, but there's a brand for like, it's not that then. Purple? Not purple. There's a brand I can't remember right now all of a sudden of like Korea. Korea has a big industry of wigs also. So if you're asking, can I do it for my hairline? You don't want to do that kind of thing for your hairline. I would say you probably just want to go for a wig if you wanted to do anything, which is pretty common in Korea. I can't remember the name. Is it Heibel? If there's a Korean watching, do you know what was the brand name? Anyway. But yeah, there are a lot of places that'll do that sort of thing. I don't think I'd put it on. I don't think I'd get the semi-permanent tattoo for a hairline. I don't think that would look very natural because these are like really tiny. They're not meant to mimic long hairs. Polygon says, I'd rather look average than be good looking. For a bashful guy like me, being the center of attention feels overwhelming. That's fair. I feel like the other downside of being really, really good looking would be, how do you know who is really your friend? The same with being like overly rich. Like, I'm not talking about like middle class, but like rich. Like if you're making millions of dollars a year, how do you know who's actually your friend? Obviously, other people who are rich might be more legitimately your friends because they don't need your money, but not really, not necessarily. How would you know someone actually just likes you for who you are and not for your looks, right? It's really rough for people with disabilities, which is one reason I try hard not to judge by appearance. Yes, another reason why I would also want to try hard not to, because looks are not a person's fault for the most part. Now, there are some aspects that, you could change, like, oh, make sure, take a shower, wash your face, those sorts of things. acne, you can, try to manage your acne, but like not everything is the person's choice. Most of it is just how they're born. I have a feeling Koreans judge more how someone looks than Americans. Yes, that's true. When I first went to Korea, people would be like, "Oh, can I touch your arm?" Like they would all think I'm like super hairy because I don't think I have like unnecessarily hairy arms or anything. They're pretty normal. But yeah, they'd be like, "Oh, can I touch that? Wow, it feels so weird." Like kids also in Korea sometimes kids will be like reach out and they're like, "What's that?" I've heard lots of people say, "Oh, you got a big nose." I'm like, "Okay, thanks." It doesn't offend me because I'm like, "Yeah, I do." But I feel like they are, and I don't want to, Koreans are not a monolith. So I can't say Koreans care about this because that's not really true. There are Koreans who don't care about looks very much. There are very, like, I wouldn't use the word open-minded, but like not closed-minded Koreans who are like chill. Like you'd meet them and you'd be like, "Oh, this person's very progressive, very cool." But then there are a lot of them who will be like, "Oh, you look like this," or "Oh, you look overweight," or "You look, too skinny," or "Oh, this is too small or too big," or whatever like that. A lot of people are judgmental about looks. And I feel like you'll hear more comments about your looks in Korea than you will in the US. It's just more of a common topic of conversation. Friends might tease each other for how they look more in Korea. They'll talk about your looks behind your back, which I don't like. I've heard not people talking about me because they're not going to talk about me in front of me, but I've heard people talking about other people when they left, then talking about their looks right after they left. I'm like, does that really matter? Like, does it matter about if you think they've gained weight? Like, who cares? Like, you can ask them if you want to know, "Hey, are you doing okay lately?" Maybe they'll tell you, but I feel like it's more of a topic of conversation. So because of that, I'd say try not to take it too personally. If someone mentions your physical appearance, it's just more common to talk about it in Korea. Not necessarily they're trying to be rude, but I think they're not considering as much that it could be considered rude. And Koreans will also, of course, get offended at that stuff too. So it's not like it's a different culture. Like, "Oh, it's okay to insult someone in Korea." It's not like that. It's more common to talk about a person's appearance in Korea. Okay, I should probably stop the live stream. It's just, we went on a tangent. My friend plucked my eyebrows when we were 15. They never grew back properly. Oh yeah, totally. You should try it. Microblading's great. Like I said, I thought it would hurt, and it really just felt like someone dragging a razor slowly over your eyebrows for like 20 minutes. So it was like a little uncomfortable. Like if you shave without putting shaving cream, like if you were to shave your leg without putting shaving cream on it, it kind of is uncomfortable, but there's no bleeding. So yeah, totally do it. I felt ignored in Korea, which was my sweet spot. I do that too. At first, I didn't want that. I wanted people to know, like, "Hey, I'm a foreigner in Korea." Now, when I go to Korea, I purposely change my facial appearance and my behavior. That way, I don't get talked to differently. I don't like when people will treat me as a foreigner. In most cases, sometimes I want to pull out the foreigner card if I want someone to leave me alone. But most of the time, I don't want special treatment in Korea. So I do the Korean appearance when I walk. Gotta get my phone out. I do that. I don't wear a hat because hat's too American. So I might wear like a hat if it's really sunny or something like that. If it's cold, you put your hoodie up, put an earpiece in, or what do you call it? Like earphones, and listen to music or something. Keep your head down. Don't smile, because smiling is a tourist thing to do. Koreans don't walk around smiling like that. That's a very tourist thing. So if you don't want to be mistaken for a tourist, which at my level, I want people just to talk to me like they would talk to a Korean. No smiling, kind of looking down, keeping to myself, and then low voice when I talk. 저기 혹시, like that. I'm not going to be, 혹시, 저 질문 있어요. Like, I'm not going to do like that. Like, again, smiling is a instant tourist giveaway. Holding something up is an instant tourist giveaway. Like, if you have a backpack and it's, and you're holding it like this, walking around, that's an instant tourist giveaway. You can have a backpack, but you should be kind of using it like you're just carrying stuff around, not like you're supporting it or anything. There are a bunch of little things that you can do. But yeah, I'd say smiling is probably the biggest one, unfortunately, that gives away to someone that you're a tourist. Because I don't want people speaking to me back in English, and I don't want them to tell me the foreigner answer when I ask them a question. Like if I say, hey, how much is this item? I don't want the tourist answer. I don't want the tourist price. I want the real price. And they'll give that to you if you speak in Korean, and they won't give that to you if you ask in English. Because I tried to buy a wallet, because I have a wallet right now, but before, like maybe like 8 years ago or whatever, I was getting rid of my wallet because it was too old. So I was going to the market, this outdoor market, and I asked in English. The guy actually approached me first. He's like, oh, are you looking for something? So I'm like, I'll just reply in English. Yeah, I'm looking for a wallet. Do you have anything like leather wallet? He's like, oh, yeah. He pulls it out. Oh, what about this? I'm like, do you have anything else? We only have this one. I'm like, okay, well, how much is it? He's like, 40,000. I thought it was not a $40,000. I'm like, you sure? Can I do it cheaper? He's like, no, it's 40. It's very high quality leather. I'm like, okay. And that wallet, though, I happen to know was 20 because I heard a different person ask the price in Korean later when I was walking back that direction, and he was saying for a different wallet, same thing to different color, and he quoted them 2만 원. So it's like never again. Yeah. Sometimes I'll actually just pretend I don't speak English if it's something where I don't want to be treated as a tourist. Like 100% I don't want to be treated as a tourist. Like if a cult member approaches me, I don't speak any English. Because you don't want to give them something that they can try to pull on. It's better to just deny it. Like, nope, not interested. Nope, I don't even speak English. Nope. 저 프랑스 사람이거든요. 죄송해요, 저 영어 못해요. Like that, you know, I'm French. And then if they try to speak French, et-tu français? It's like, oui, je aussi. Like, I don't know. I just reply, you know, I'm not interested, or, you know, oui, je français. Je suis français, or whatever. You know, I can't speak French, but I can pretend to speak French to a Korean person in Korea. People who only hang out with you for your looks are a red flag. Yeah, I don't have any friends like that, though. So I can't speak from personal experience, but that would be a red flag. I've never had people be like, "Oh, Billy, you're just so handsome. I want to hang out with you." I'd be like, "Sweet, man, dude, that's cool. Let's hang out." I'd be fine with that. Sure. 힘들겠네요. 개인적으로는 친구들이 저의 외모에 대한 뒷담화 했으면 안 좋아할 거예요. Yeah, I wouldn't like it either. Talking behind my back. What tone is the most common for females? Is higher. Yeah, higher is more common. Though I do know females who have a kind of more of a husky voice, which is fine too. I think it's cool. So you don't have to speak higher if you want. Speak how you want. Speak how you want. Just be aware that whatever listening materials you're using is going to end up being kind of how you talk. So I knew guys who would do listening practice only by talking with females. Like a lot of guys that go to Korea for their girlfriend, and their Korean girlfriend is the only person that they speak Korean with. They talk like a girl. Like that, nothing wrong with that if they want that. But these are, you know, they don't want that. A straight guy, they probably don't want that. If you're, you know, if that's your preference, then yeah, do it. Just know how you're going to sound. Korea is so different from Indonesia. People smile so often in Indonesia, and if you don't smile back, it is rude. Interesting. That sounds kind of cool, actually. I'd be happy smiling. I kind of liked smiling, but I've had some situations in Korea where I got treated negatively for smiling. Once was, so this was 2014 or 13. 2014 or 13, when I first went to Korea, or maybe it was before. No, this must have been before. Yeah, this would have been like 12. Anyway, so when I went to Korea, I already spoke Korean fluently. I went to get a haircut, and I'm just so happy to be in Korea because this was like my first time going to Korea in a few years. And I'm like, this was my resting smiling face. My resting Billy, my RBF, my resting Billy face. Like this. Like this. I'm getting my hair cut, and the lady cutting my hair, she was kind of weird. So I'll say that to start. She was not a nice person, but she's cutting my hair. She's like talking to me. She's like, "Oh, okay. How you like Korea? How long you been here? You know, all that basic stuff." I finish my haircut. I go out to wait. Then she cuts my wife's hair. talking to my wife, blah, blah, blah. My wife comes out. She's like, I don't want to come here again. I'm like, okay. So she's telling me, oh yeah, after you got your haircut and you're waiting in the room, she was just like talking about you. She was saying, oh, your husband is weird. He's like, how come he keeps smiling? That's so weird, isn't it? And I'm like, so I heard my wife's telling me that. I'm like, what? Like smiling is weird? And then she's like, yeah, and he also had a lot of dandruff in his hair. It was kind of weird and dirty. I'm like, I told you, I literally just arrived from Korea in the morning that day. I was getting my haircut. Like that day in the morning, like my hair was still kind of oily. That's why I got it, washed there first. Anyway, yeah, so she was not nice. I never went there again. But I just remember that. It stuck with me, like that she thought it was weird that I was smiling. And at the time, I didn't quite understand. I'm like, okay, well, obviously she was rude and weird. Yes, but also I think a lot of Koreans also might feel like if you're smiling, it means you're thinking of something, like you're laughing to yourself, right? Like in the US, we would think smiling is kind of like default, like it's just, oh, they're happy. But if someone's like, like while they're getting their haircut, like that all the time, that would be considered weird, right? It's like, why are they laughing? It's not, oh, they must be thinking something funny. It's like, no, why are they laughing? And in Korea, a lot of people, especially I'd say older people, kind of have the mindset that if you're smiling for no reason, like if you're just happy and you're smiling, it kind of puts them like, they feel uneasy because they're like, what's going on? Like, is there a joke? Are you laughing at me or thinking of something funny and I don't know what it is? So they'll feel uncomfortable at that with you smiling. And I've heard, actually not me, but I've heard other stories of a couple other people who've had similar experiences where the Korean told them like they shouldn't smile because it felt awkward. That's something from like kind of the older generation, mostly, where they feel uncomfortable if someone's like smiling. And still some younger generation people too will feel really weird if you're like smiling. Like, I don't get it. Like, I'm happy. But because of that, when I'm walking around Korea, just so people don't think I'm a tourist or they don't think, for those people, I just put on my resting Billy face, kind of walk around like that, and use a lower voice when I talk. And that kind of developed into me when I speak Korean, having a little bit lower voice often when I'm speaking with strangers, because I want it to sound really soft and really polite. Whereas I wouldn't do that in English. I'd be like, oh, hey, I have a question. Hey, I was just wondering. I'll go to a higher voice in English when I'm talking with a stranger. And in Korean, I'll go to a lower one with a stranger because I want to sound as polite and soft. I don't want them to think I'm like some goofy foreigner. I want them to think like I've had enough. I've been living in Korea too long. I kind of want that sort of feeling when I talk with people. Billy, teach us 외계인어. 아방여봉. Yeah, I actually taught that before. So amazing. Watch my video about 도깨비. I have a video in my Korean food series about 도깨비 language. And I teach how to speak alien language as well as 도깨비 language in that video. In Korea, people smile. If you don't smile back, it's not rude unless you're angry. Yeah. 무례한 아주머니였네요. Yeah. She was, like I said, I never went back to there because still it was rude for her to say that, especially to my wife. Like, why would you tell that? Like, you can think that to yourself, but why would you express that to the very wife of the person that you cut their hair? Like, obviously she's going to go tell her husband, right? Yeah, I don't know why. People often smile here, not always, but often. Yeah, and I'm here in LA, and default expression for LA is when you see a stranger, you smile. It kind of helps us to feel like it disarms people when you smile, at least for like LA or Southern California culture. Like when you smile at someone, they feel like, oh, okay, this person's, not crazy. They might help me. They seem kind. And if you don't smile, it seems like, oh, they must be really busy or really unhappy, or maybe they're having a hard time or something. They got to do something. I don't want to bother them. But yeah, in Korea, it's kind of the opposite. You don't want to smile at someone, especially like a stranger. Like if you look at a stranger, you're like smile. You have to be careful when you do that. There's some cases when you can, obviously, like little children in Korea. Although I will say, if you smile at a little kid in Korea, they might cry if they've never seen a foreigner before, because it can legitimately scare them. They don't know what the heck you are, depending on how you look. I've had that before where you like look at a little kid, like a baby, and you're like, like that, and the baby, ah! But if you do it, if you're careful about how you do it, like slowly introduce yourself, they'll like it. Because you look cool to them as well. They haven't seen foreigners before. But if you randomly like smile at people that you see in the street, it's just so awkward. You have to be careful how you do it. There are ways you can goof around with Koreans, especially if it's someone like around the age of 20, like teenager to young to 20ish. They can kind of have that sort of sense of humor where you can be kind of goofy like you would be in the US. But for most people, I would say be careful. You have to kind of feel that out before you try to use goofy humor, because they might not want that. Some areas, though, I like in Korea for that are specifically not Hongdae, but near Hongdae. There's an area called Yeonnam-dong, which is just a small part of Hongdae. It's one of my favorite parts in Seoul because I feel like people there are the most laid back of any place I've been to in Seoul consistently. They just want to go there to kind of relax. And I feel a lot of people there are more chill. Like they're happy to stop to talk with me. I can do small talk with some of them where you can't really do small talk that much. So yeah. So I don't want to say Korea's like every Korean is like this, because that's not true. There are a lot of Koreans with different mindsets. Anyway, that's enough for today. Super Bowl already started. I don't want to miss the commercials. Thank you everyone for coming. And I will see you again next time. Oh, and remember, there will be all new voting options tomorrow. So make sure to vote for the next lesson that we're going to do. All right, take care. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.